What is good, guys? This is Steven with All Talk On, and today I have another build for you guys. It's about a $500 budget. We're looking at $492.42. There is $5 worth of shipping added to that price, so base total of $487. But you know what I mean. You gotta include the shipping if you want your products to get to you. So yeah, that'll happen. Anyways, I wanted to do a $500 build to match up against my older $500 build that happened about 2 days ago. That one was based around the Intel Pentium G3258, which, if you guys know, is a great processor, but when it comes down to multi-core use, it is not the best. So if you want to be looking to run some video recording software in the background, as well as some audio recording software separate like I do, as well as running, I don't know, Google Chrome and your antivirus and all that good stuff while gaming, it can deal a heavy toll on those single or dual core processors. So basically I wanted to build something that was a little bit geared towards productivity as well as can still handle gaming. Now keep in mind that I did have to knock a little bit off gaming towards productivity. When on a budget, you can't really have both the best worlds. I'm sorry, guys, it's just really hard to fit in. But if you do check out my my $650 build, that's practically as close as you're going to get to the best of both worlds for, $650. I'm sorry, that's just pretty much as good as it's going to get, unless you want to chip out a lot more money for an Intel Core i7, as well as chip out for a NVIDIA graphics card with those CUDA cores for video editing and rendering. But if you can't afford that, this is the next best thing, which is all AMD, right, you guys? Cheaper is better. So right now we're going to hop right in this. We're looking at the first thing is the processor is the AMD FX 6300. Now I went with this processor because it's 6 cores, so it definitely can handle some multitasking and some other good stuff like this. Not the greatest. I'm not going to say that it's not going to or I'm not going to say that's going to multitask better than an Intel i5 with 4 cores, because honestly that's not necessarily true. I'd be lying if I told you guys that. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, as far as it goes towards the dual core Pentium G3258, it will. I can say that, but that's because those PCs or those CPUs aren't necessarily in the same class. They're not really comparable. I would count that more as Intel's lower range, and I would count the FX 6300 as AMD's medium range. So we're looking at $99 with free shipping. From Newegg right now, the price went down about $10, so thankfully I was able to fit it in this build. We're at a 3.5 gigahertz clock speed, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it out there, and if you haven't, this is definitely one of the best medium budget gaming processors out there, because it can keep up with a lot of multi-core heavy applications. It's a lot better with it than an Intel Pentium G3258, and it's only about $40 more. Comparing it to like an i5 or something, it's not going to handle it. Even though the i5's only got 4 cores, the i5 was just, I don't know. That thing's just way too ridiculous, but hence the $100 more than this card price that it carries with that, it should be better. Next we have the motherboard. I went with the MSI 970A G43. Now this is on the 970 chipset. Once again, it's not that old of a chipset. It's not the newest, but it's not the oldest, so it's definitely a decent chipset. We're looking at $54.99. It is a decently good motherboard. It actually doesn't look too basic or standard either, which is pretty nice. I always want a motherboard that looks kind of halfway decent. It's at a max memory of 32 gigabytes, supports RAID, Crossfire, does not support SLI, has 6 SATA 6 gigabit per second ports, as well as USB 3.0 headers. So that's my favorite. And it supports a memory speed from 1066 to 2133 megahertz. So definitely something nice to have when you got them AMD processors. Faster memory is better. Next we have the memory, which is what I mean by faster is better. We have the ADATA XPG, is it? Yeah, XPG version 1.0, 8 gigabytes 2x4 of DDR3 1600, yeah, right. DDR3 1866 memory, which now for AMD 1866 memory does make a difference. Not as much for Intel, which is why you won't usually see me include it in 1866. I usually just stick with 1600, because you won't see too much of an improvement in gaming. Honestly, you won't see too much improvement in gaming at all, even in AMD with 1866. It does add a little bit of improvement though. Mostly this is for your productivity part of the build. Once again, this is another part that I had to pick out that was slightly more expensive, about $13 more for 1866, roughly about 10 I would say, at $79.99 with free shipping from Newegg. But I mean, for the editing and exporting and 1080p stuff like that, 1866 memory is definitely a nice thing to have. If you can go higher, I would. If you can't, don't. Cast latency of 10, but I mean, it's still at a faster megahertz speed, so it's still going to have faster read and write speeds than a 1600 megahertz RAM with a cast latency of 9. Just because it says 10 at the cast latency, it doesn't mean anything, you guys. Now, don't go for anything that's got like 11 or 12, because honestly, you might as well chip out the extra few dollars and get something more expensive. I don't even know if they make 12. I'm not sure. I never looked into it. Anyways, you guys, next we have the drive. Once again, another part that I did have to shave off a few dollars off of to fit this AMD processor in there. It is the Hitachi 1TB 7200 RPM SATA 3 gigabit per second with 32 megabytes of cache. So it's a little bit slower. Right now it's on sale at Amazon for $39 with $4.49 shipping. 49 cents shipping, and it's at $43.49 total after all that. So definitely it's about like $7 cheaper than the other SATA 6 gigabit per second. If you have the extra $6, go ahead and throw it towards it and get the SATA 6. If not, the SATA 3 will do just fine, you guys. Don't even worry about it. It's a hard drive, it's 1 terabyte, it'll handle it pretty well. Next we have the graphics card. I went with the Asus R9 270 2 gigabyte DirectCU 2 video card, 2 gigabytes of GDDR5. It has a core clock of 950 megahertz, and yeah, it's only about 9 inches long, which isn't too bad. It's $149 and free shipping at Newegg. There is a $20 mail-in rebate. I would suggest going for it. Just because I don't include it in the price, you guys, I still want you guys to go for the rebate. It is definitely helpful. Use that money towards putting something else. So basically what you can do is buy all these parts, get an extra $30 to $50 in mail-in rebates, and use that to buy something else that you could use for your PC, mouse, keyboard, put it towards your operating system. I don't know, you guys, anything. Get an aftermarket cooler would definitely be a great idea. If I had to suggest an aftermarket cooler, it would be the Cooler Master, Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. It's about $35, and it's one of the most purchased and most reputable coolers out there. Now there is two versions. They have the 212 and the 212 Plus and 212 Evo. Get the 212 Evo. It is slightly better and only $5 more, or it's more than slightly better actually, I would say, and it's $5 more. So I would definitely opt out the $5 for that. So anyways, that's the graphics cards. It's not the 270X, you guys. I couldn't fit it in here. It was a little bit too much more pricey, and I was trying to fit that 6-core processor in here, so I had to kind of shave a little bit of price off of that. So I apologize, but it was the best I could do. It'll still definitely get the job done. It'll still definitely help you out with your rendering and editing. If you don't care about price though, I wouldn't suggest a Radeon card for video editing. I would suggest getting NVIDIA, because NVIDIA lets you take advantage of having CUDA cores. Now the 760 was almost $200, so I could definitely not fit a 760 in here. It was just too expensive, and like I said, I didn't want this build to be solely towards the video editing. I wanted it to still have some gaming and some budget. You know what I mean? If I increase the budget another $50, you can take. I could have put a 760 in here, but that's up to you guys. That's what you want to do. Honestly, instead of going for the 760, I would put $50 and go for a 280X. That's my opinion, mostly for the gaming factor of it. But like I said, if you're really into editing more than you are into gaming, then go for the CUDA cores. You guys go for NVIDIA. But I do love AMD, so not a problem. Either way, I'm happy as long as it does what it's supposed to do. Next, we have the case. I use the same case I've been using nonstop in like the last 3 builds, because I cannot find a better case for the price at $29.99 with free shipping. This thing has it all. It has 2 fans. They're LED fans if that's what you like, but like I said, I just like the fact that there's 2 of them. It's always nice to have one in the front, one in the back without having to buy any. Oh yeah, this is the case. Is the Deep Cool Tesseract SW. I don't know if I said that. Anyways, it's an ATX mid tower. It supports ATX, micro ATX, and mini ITX motherboards, as well as it has the front panel USB 3.0 is my pet peeve, and it supports a graphics card up to 12.2 inches. So I mean, this thing just, like I said, it basically has it all with 4 hard drive bays and 2 optical drive bays for $30. This case is just, like I said, awesome, amazing. Next, we're going to go to the power supply. I have the EVGA 500 watt 80 plus bronze non-modular power supply. Now, I did find an extremely cheap version. Newegg right now has it on sale everywhere. Wants about $50 for this. Newegg has it on sale for $29.99 with free shipping. You guys, 80 plus bronze 500 watt power supply on sale. It's been on sale for about 2 or 3 days now. $29.99. So I mean, it's got 71 ratings at a 4.5 average. You know, you factor in the dickheads that probably gave it a bad rating because they're stupid. They bought a 450 watt system and was mad when 500 watts wasn't enough. So I mean, that you gotta take that factor into play. But this is EVGA, trusted brand, 80 plus bronze. It's got some efficiency on it. It's not modular and is 500 watts, and it's more than enough to power this build. If you are going to be looking to overclocking like pretty heavy, I would definitely suggest going for a 600 to 620 watt 80 plus bronze or gold just in case, but that's my opinion. You don't have to. Next we have the optical drive. I went with the Asus DRW24F1ST. It's just a $14.99 free shipping drive from Amazon. You know, grab it if you want it, don't grab it if you don't want it. It's at a 3 gigabit per second. It'll handle basically anything you want it to do with a CD, I guess. So, I mean, there's no worries there, you guys. It's just there because in case you need one. So, that's my $500 build for you guys. That is half productivity, half gaming. I would say that this does include definitely the best of both worlds, but if you have an extra $150 to spend, I would definitely go and check out my $650 build because that thing is just way too good for the price. And I'm telling you guys right now, because a lot of the parts in that build I can speak from personal preference from because I actually have some of those in my computer as we speak. So, but anyways, this is just my $500 build. Like I said, it'll get you started on your productivity. You can have your streaming, you can have your action recorder running in the background along with you got your Google Chrome open with a bunch of tabs you don't want to close. Basically, when you go to game, you don't have to make sure your computer isn't running a bunch of crap so it doesn't slow your game down. As well as, like I said, taking advantage of the quicker speeds as far as editing, exporting, and rendering videos, especially when you're doing 1080p. It can get pretty heavy, take 20-30 minutes, you know what I mean, for a 15-minute video. So just keep that in mind, that it's not the fastest though, but it's definitely going to get you started, like I said. So that's my $500 build to match up against my other $500 build. You guys can pick and choose what you like of each. Do what you got to do. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you guys think. Do what you guys got to do. I would say, if anything, you can go back and forth between the builds and probably still come out with a really good build combining parts from both builds. Like say you wanted a 270X, you could opt out for that, as well as the SATA 6 gigabit per second, and maybe a few dollars towards your RAM and motherboard, and you'd be looking at about $600. And you would definitely have a step up from what we're at right now. But if you're going to go that route, I would suggest taking a look at my $650 build. Anyways, guys, this is Steven with All Talk On, and I'll catch you guys later.